Hello, and welcome back to the Dungeons & Dragons Podcast UK. My name is Yasmin, and I will be the DM.
Hi, my name's Colin, and I play Cuin de Greymont, a paladin from Gavany.
Hi, I'm Spencer. I play Caddo Chasseur, a cleric also from Gavany.
Hi, I'm Brian, and I play Ogvar Shawfoot, a ranger from Kessig.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I play Elora Greyvale, a sorcerer from Nephalia. As the overwhelmingly smelly sewer search recruits start returning to their faithful fold with reports of their findings, the dribs and drabs of incoming information start to build a bigger picture, and a potential infiltration plan could quite literally be in the pipeline. Despite their odorous situation, the crud-covered Cathars did not want to incur the infamous Wrath of Ruth, and therefore ditched their boggy boots, stinky socks and poopy pantaloons outside in the walled garden before punishing the plumbing within the holy household. When last we left in episode 81, in a bid to aid the relic repatriation assignment for the bishop, our flustered five stepped out to scour the city streets for purveyors of ideal magical items and potions to purchase. Episode 82. Great Expectations.
So, going around the area, this is what you can get. This is what's available for you to buy.
From different shops.
From various shops.
Various different shops, you know, wherever you want to go, yeah. Yes.
Alright, and how much are these items that we can get our hands on?
So, now I've got a list and you know what the items do. Okay, what are you doing? These are the items you have available for purchase. Potion of ink black at 250 gold pieces. 2 vials of quick flame at 25 gold pieces each. A scroll of dispel magic at 375 gold pieces. Blade fire at 20 gold pieces. 2 sleep arrows at 132 gold pieces each. Lockslip grease at 50 gold pieces. A scroll of invisibility sphere at 375 gold pieces. 2 stability capsules at 115 gold pieces each. The amulet and anklet of translocation at 1400 GP. A scroll of ghost sound at 12 GP and 5 silver pieces. And the DM special, a ring of invisibility at 50 gold pieces. I said DM special, shopkeeper special.
So obviously we're not in a shop looking at all these. These are shops all over
so
town.
so you've gone into the shopping district and you've looked around and this is what's available and offered, this is what's kind of, you know...
Okay, so if we want to buy something, we don't have to go back and forth with the shopkeeper.
No,
we just buy it.
you just tell me what you want and you'd have got it from a shop which sells it.
Right, so we've gone in the shop, we've come out of the shop. Guys, we've been able to get hold of all this, you know, these are the things that are available to us. There's some really nice items on there, but I don't know what you think, but I think if we just hold off for the time being, because we're not quite sure of what we're going to do. So my suggestion, if everybody's in agreement, would be to go back to the church, and I think we should sit down and really look at the floor plan of the mansion and decide how we're actually going to do this before we decide which items might be useful to us to buy. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's fine by me. What do you reckon, Opfer?
Oh yes, everything's up for debate, I suppose, and get all the ideas out on the table first.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Caddo?
Yeah, works for me.
Are you there?
Yeah, works for me.
Right, so we'll all go back to the church,
Okay.
obviously with our own personal thoughts, and I guess we'll probably just get ourselves something to eat and drink and literally settle ourselves down around the table to discuss how, now we've got some of the information that we need, that we
we would probably go about infiltrating this place.
Okay, so you're more than welcome to come out of character if you want at this point. You're sat around the table. You've got a brew. You've got a bit of ale, a bit of mead. Got a bit of snacking. Sato wanders past without any shoes on. He's made himself very at home here. He's got another bowl of what looks like some kind of oats or bran in his hand. He just wanders past, no shoes on, just slap as he goes past.
Sato,
Yes.
have you actually introduced yourself to anybody here, like Ruth and
Yes, of course.
Bishop? You have. Oh, okay.
Bye. And off he goes.
He's gone again. He just drifts in and he just drifts out.
He looks like he's staying at the moment, I must admit.
He's very mysterious. Are you not curious?
Well, yes, the floors are very cold in here and he's got no shoes on them. It's curious behaviour if you ask me.
I'm really quite foxed because I can't quite make out. I mean, he seems to have some kind of magical abilities, but I'm not quite sure. What? No, I'm really confused. I wish somebody could enlighten me. I'm very curious. Anyway, I digress. Yeah.
With the 2 hours we've been gone, we'd be tying up with the time for the barracks Cathars to be coming back now?
Yes. Thank you. Remind me.
Oh, we're going to get interrupted.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're sat there, you're beginning to kind of start looking at planning, getting this information in. The group you sent to do scouting at the barracks returns. Okay, so what questions did you want answered?
Okay, so start time. When are they going up there?
So, the information that gets brought back to you. The guards are being split, and this actually appears on a piece of paper. They've managed to, and looking at it, you can see that it's probably Colbean, who's once again forged another document very badly, and it looks like he's copied off the like a list, a guard roster. And again, all of these words are spelt horrifically wrong. They're horrifically mangled. They don't really recognise one until you read them out loud. And you can see from the piece of paper that's returned that there are 2 guard rotations occurring. The first guard rotation is from 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock. The second guard rotation is from 7:30 to 11:30.
Are those AMs or PMs or?
PMs.
Both of them PMs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the 2 listed guard rotations. And underneath you can see a list of names, and there looks to be about 20 names on each list.
These are the guard rotations for the house, or
For the
Yes.
not
so,
for the city itself.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it is very clear that this is for obviously the party,
Mhm.
rather than just for watch on the walls. And next to the list of names, there are a list of positions. Each rotation, there are 20 guards.
Yeah.
Of those 20 guards, 10 of them are out in the gardens.
Mhm.
They're out in the ground. It simply says gardens next to them. You're not sure where on the property they'll be, but they'll be out in the gardens. The other 10 are split across the basement and the first floor. Not evenly, they are just split across randomly. So, for example, first floor, there are 2 on the terrace, where it literally says terrace on the outside. There's 2 on the terrace, but there are none within any of the main rooms. So there aren't any in the banquet hall. There are none in the reception hall. There's probably 2 in the covered terrace / orangery area. And then the other 6 are in the basement area. So there's 4 in the guards' courtyard. And then there'll be another 2 kind of patrolling. It says stable / coach room.
so we don't. Does it say whether they have any special uniform?
So you've got your information. You've got your timings when the guards are. You know when the shift changes. You know where some of the guards are going to be. The other guards are going to be scattered around the rest of the property. And Colbean also tells you that when they were going through, they noticed that there were some very neat sets of uniform, full sets of uniform, pressed and hanging in the room. So there was neat trousers, neat shirt, neat cape, neat tabard, all very new, very neat looking, very clean, fresh uniforms. So are there any other questions you wanted
other one.
answered? Sorry, I can't
Hold on. Guard rosters, special uniform, fruit and start finish, and house and gardens.
Yeah. Then any
House and
other
gardens.
useful snippets which we left as a fairly ambiguous question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Useful snippet wise, Colbean also tells you that while they were shifting through some documents, they came across a name, Alexander Guerre, Guerre, which, and on the documents it seemed to indicate that he was the head of the household guard and the contact point for these guards. And that's all of the information that they've been able to gather. You seem to gather from what Colbean and the rest of the other three are saying that they had they had to dodge around in Jerome a bit because apparently he wandered in and started proclaiming to the mirror about the Battle of Dryfish Dock. which took up a considerable proportion of the time, otherwise this job would have been completed a lot quicker. But he got into a bit of a loop with himself, I think.
Amazing.
Lovely.
Okay. So Colbean and the others, they give you a nod. It gives you a bit of a, right boss, gotta go, boom! Off he goes. Gator.
He's a rather strange fellow, isn't he, really? Very excitable.
Laura just thinks he's hilarious.
Okay.
Got the job done though.
Yes. But
Fair
I suppose we'd better let them be a bit until later and then send them out to have a recce on the old crabs.
Yeah. Have we completed all of our tasks yet, or?
That's the last one,
Oh, just on. Yeah, we're going to send them out to do that. Yeah, okay.
which is pretty well almost everybody,
Yep.
apart from the ones with minus
It'll use
against the name.
most of them.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if we perhaps,
Okay.
if there's any way we can get more information about the house out of anybody, whether or not we could wheedle some information out of one of the servants when they're off duty, or one of the guards when they're off
Well,
duty.
you could see if one of them goes to a tavern or something.
Because at the
I don't
moment
know,
we've
but,
got we've got 4 floors to search. Unless we make some inspired guesswork that his vault is in the cellar, then it's a bloody big house for us to try and work through room by room to work out where he's keeping this stuff. I mean, the options are, looking at it, there's the private room on the first floor at the end of the covered terrace stroke orangery. Possibly.
Yeah.
The rest of that floor, I would suggest none of it. There's a private balcony down on the bottom right corner, but I can't imagine he'll keep stuff in that because it's in the bachelor's wing. So there's that private room on the first floor.
Normally, balconies are normal external, aren't they?
Yeah. On the second
now
floor.
we know the.
On the second floor, he's got a private study. Top left, next to the library. There's also his own room. At the other end of the balcony there. And then on the third floor, we don't know what any of those rooms are apart from 3. And then in the basement, there's obviously, I would say most of them are working rooms, apart from the steps down to the cellar. So I reckon if he's keeping his stuff in the house, it's either in the private room, the private study, in one of the unnamed rooms in the 3rd floor, possibly the astrological tower, or it's in the cellar. Would seem the logical options.
I certainly can't see. I can't see him keeping stuff in the basement. I'm only basing that on the fact that that is where most of the employees are wandering around. I don't think he'd have stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and all of the rooms are
Anywhere
labelled. All of those rooms are pretty much labelled
Mm.
within reason. And they don't
It's probably
seem-
a high. It's a high footprint area, isn't it? People are travelling through there all the time. I don't think
Yeah.
that kind of thing would be kept there.
No.
So I think that's a fairly.
But from that floor,
A fairly
we'd have to get
reasonable
onto that
assumption.
floor to access the cellar, wouldn't we? So if we wanted to look at the cellar, we'd have to access the basement.
Accessing the basement would probably be the easiest place to move around unnoticed if we've got some uniforms or something. But
Possibly,
No, 'cause that's
although
for uniforms.
to get from the stairs, unless we come in through the stables or the coach room, we've got to come down the servant stairs, and they come out into the guards' courtyard. So
I will state here and now that these uniforms aren't special uniforms. They aren't
no, they're
different in any way
just
to the
clean.
normal uniforms, other than the fact they're really clean and pressed and fresh looking.
Yeah.
So if we could clean our uniforms to the same degree, and we'd be just look like the special guards that guard up there.
Yeah, I mean, you managed to steal, I think, was it 5 sets of full uniform?
no, we've got 13.
No.
5
Oh.
sets of full,
Ah,
and then 8
Okay.
sets.
Eight
Here we
sets
go
of
again.
other-
How many uniforms have we
Yeah.
got?
Eight
Yeah.
sets of tabard
Right, okay.
and
Yeah, if you
cloak.
manage to clean up the full uniforms you sent off, clean them up, scrub them down, get them all nice looking, then you would be able to blend in fairly well. Yeah,
How long would that take?
getting them cleaned, you could probably ask me to do it. She'd get it done lickety split.
Ruth.
We've got a
Okay.
whole day, haven't we? Plus.
Well, I'm just looking at whether or not we can narrow down the information about the house to limit the amount of places we have to search.
how could we go about doing that?
Well, it's whether or not we can find somebody with some inside information, be it a member of the household servantry staff or one of their guards who
Well,
is bribable, perhaps.
Gerhard used to go there, didn't he? Gerhard used to go there.
Yeah, but
He says he
seen
can't
it.
remember, but if you jogged
he's
his
as
memory,
mad as a box of
perhaps-
frogs.
Well, there is always that, yeah.
I will give you a hint here as a DM. There is, although there are some very good places which you've mentioned, there is one particularly suspicious point on this map.
Oh, right. Okay, let's go through this floor by floor. Basement. I think we've sort of said that we were probably going to rule out the basement.
You can always ask Esther her opinion as well, should you wish.
Yes,
or
we
even
forgot about
Sato.
Esther.
He's floating around. You can find him if you want.
Okay, well let's have a quick look at this, and we can always confirm some information from somebody else. I think you and I certainly are in agreement about the basement, aren't we, Spence? What does anybody else think?
Well,
That's
there's,
really
there's
not
the
gonna be-
stairs. There's the stairs down to the cellar.
Yeah.
And obviously we haven't got a map of the cellar, so we don't know what's down there.
No.
There's
Okay.
there's a room. There's the main storage room. There's a room below the main storage room, but on the basis that it's got easy access, I can't imagine it's any sort of stronghold. I'm just trying to
No.
see on that map if there's any rooms there
It's a-
that haven't got easy access. But most of them have just
It's
got
just
open
a-
doorways, so I can't imagine he's going to be using any of those as for hiding
Where
his
these open
contraband in.
doorways are, they will have doors. Most of them will have doors in. They're just not drawn in on the map.
Oh, what, where the gaps are in the
Oh,
rooms?
right.
Yeah,
They've got
they
doors
will
in,
have
right?
doors
Okay.
in. Yeah, sorry, that's.
Okay. Well,
But even then,
the
one
hell's
that's an
that?
obvious through passage. So,
that
for
say?
example, if you
Oh, drawing
if
down.
you leave the coach room and you're trying to get to the inner courtyard, you've got to go through that other room. So it's very rare that somebody's strong room is a through passage as well, isn't it? It's
yeah,
normally
I'm-
a
I'm-
single door only type of place.
I think the most private place on that floor or the most is going to be the armoury, but even then the guards are going to have access to that. So I actually don't think there's anything on that floor. Can't comment on the cellar.
No.
But I personally don't feel that there'd be anything else on that particular floor because there's too many people wandering through. And these are high value items. They're one of a kind. So
And
if we
then on
then
the
go to the first floor,
There's one room marked
Anybody got
private
any-
room. So there's the top left hand corner,
Yeah.
there's one room marked private room, but the rest of them are basically public rooms, aren't they?
gallery, music room, salon, parlour, butler's pantry, ladies' banquet hall. Yeah, agreed. Billiard room.
Although there is
yeah,
the
I would
room-
agree.
In the bachelor's wing, there's the room between the private balcony and the bachelor's wing, but again, I'm not sure you're going to want to have all your secretly stashed stuff easily accessible from a balcony, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't suppose this guy is stupid. He doesn't get to where he is through being stupid or do the things that he, he's obviously well connected. He's obviously a smart enough bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few little unmarked rooms on there, but they all look like they're fairly
Yeah.
public rooms, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, I would say so.
Which then takes us to the second floor. Now again, there's a private study next to the library,
There's a lord's room as well.
and then opposite that, on the other side of the dining hall, there's a private
ladies'
parlour.
room, sitting room,
So there's a private parlour there.
guest room.
Yeah,
guest
the,
room.
the Lord's room, I think that's referring to, that's where he sleeps.
I expect it's his bedroom.
Because they very rarely.
Yes, next to the
Yeah.
setting room.
What do we think the
So inside of the-
hatched out room is on the right there? Do we think that's a room, or do
The
we think
upstairs
that's
of the ballroom. It's what's below it. It's got a whole high ceiling, I would have thought.
Yeah, so that's the
Yeah.
upstairs of the ballroom. So that's an open area that looks down into the ballroom.
Right.
what, the banqueting hall?
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
banquet hall, sorry.
Okay, so that's just an open space. So that's not a room. So there we've basically got a private study, a private parlour, and/or his
And it's the
bedroom.
same in the library up there on the second floor. That hatched off area is a open.
Yeah, a bit more library.
area.
Yeah, okay.
See, I'm looking at the private parlour. I'm just looking at the way the private parlour is set. I don't know.
Well, basically,
Private study.
Yeah, so
That
you've got
might be where
you've
he
got the
keeps
private
his-
study,
his,
the private parlour, and his lord's room. And then on
Well,
the
his
third,
study, that's probably going to be where his documents are going to be there, probably, aren't they?
possibly, but there is a little room sort of behind it.
Yes,
Can
I
you
see what you're saying.
See what I mean? There's sort
Yeah,
of like a
there's no
which
door on
doesn't
that
have an obvious
specific-
door on it, so it's possible
that doesn't have a door in it.
that's that's
Yeah.
his little strong room, as a possibility.
Yeah,
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
but as a possibility.
that's a very strong possibility, I would say.
And then on the third floor, I mean, none of the rooms there are
probably one of those
particularly
blue type
labelled, apart from the astrology tower. It's the only real room that's
a private dressing
dining. Is that dressing room or dining room?
Oh,
Dining.
Dining room.
And an upper hall.
But I suspect
So
that's a bit too
I'm-
public.
I'm looking back on the second floor here. That private study, there is a wall there with no access point, which tells me. I mean, that could be a bookcase or something with a. There's no. Why would you have a room without a door?
Well, I assume it has got some sort of
That's-
door. It's just not marked on the map, is it?
Well, that's the point, though, isn't it? I think. Do you know what? It could be that we can look for documents in the private study because it's a study. That's more or less where you normally have. I mean, there are other private rooms. Like there's a room below it, directly below it, which is a private room
Now,
that connects to
yeah,
the
now,
library.
on that basis, if we're making that logical assumption, the quickest and shortest route into that is over the terrace on the first floor, into the library, up onto the library mezzanine, and straight into the private study. Does that make sense?
So over the in through
you
the
come-
covered terrace or orangery.
No, you come in. So, if you look at the way the map's drawn, on the right hand side, left hand side of the first floor, there's two sets of stairs come up onto a terrace, which is
Oh,
to the
there,
left
yeah,
of the
yeah, got you.
library. Yeah, and then there's two big windows in the library there.
Yep.
So you go into the library through that terrace. You go up onto the library mezzanine, and then you're up on the right level to go straight into that private study. So it's the shortest route in the house. Well, yes, because that's what's on the second floor. Well, there's a sort of a balcony.
Area,
so there's a sort of a library balcony on the second floor there, so I assume you can get up to it.
What you're drawing? Hang on. Wait.
Is that? I assume in the corner there's a spiral staircase. Is that a spiral staircase?
Right,
it has that little plus sign in the corner.
That is a spiral staircase.
Yeah.
In the corner by the library? Oh, I see.
See what I mean? Okay. So you come into the library, you go up the spiral staircase. You're on the walkway round the top of the library, and then you're straight into the private study.
Correct. I would agree with that. Everybody else agree with that one? Yeah, we're all in agreement with that.
So somehow we've got to gain access, and that's the only door to that private study, so somehow we've got to gain access to the library one way or another.
There is a fireplace, but I don't know how big the chimneys are.
What you thinking of coming down off the roof? We've got to get up there in the first place.
Down or up. I mean, it's more complex. I mean, it's a bit more awkward to climb up a chimney if you can get in there. But
if we get into the library, we might as well go up the spiral staircase. There's no point trying to climb up a chimney.
Yeah, but no, I suppose not. Yeah, because there's nothing below it. Oh, I don't know. There is a fireplace in the stables in exactly the same spot.
There's one in the coach
floor.
room. There's one in the coach room. So in theory, if we could get into the coach room, we might be able to get up that way.
Yeah.
Well, the stables would be you'd be in the room.
Yeah, because if you were able to access the chimneys, you could go straight up through the stables, straight up through the private room, and then straight up into the study. It's all on the same. It's a more awkward. It is up the same chimney, yeah, and you wouldn't be seen from the outside either. You'd only have to get into the stables.
I don't think Kieran and Caddo would be able to climb up a chimney.
No, but that doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't. Not that it's wise to split a party because you need everybody's skill sets, but it's just a point to note, isn't it?
Are we agreed that probably the room we're interested in is the one behind the private study? Do we think that's our most likely point of interest?
Mm-hmm. For me, I think so. Or if you can get inside of the perimeter wall and you can come round to the terrace to the side of the library where we were looking at originally and get into the terrace, you could come round that way.
Yeah, because looking at those two windows on the western side of the library, they're really big windows in comparison to all the other ones. Whether or not they're French doors...
Well, they're either big or they're four...
They might be French doors.
Small ones.
You never know, they might be French doors for all we know. But that seems like the most likely point of ingress, I would say. I could be wrong. If we can create some sort of diversion elsewhere, so that we can get to there without being seen. So,
Well, what if we got round the back rather than going onto that terrace on the west side? What if you went right the way round the back, and you actually tried to gain access to the door, which just comes off the back of the private room, which goes onto the covered terrace orangery.
Well, we know there's two guards on the covered terrace orangery, don't we? So we've been told there's going to be two guards patrolling that bit.
Yeah.
So that's two more guards than we need to deal with on the other terrace.
Well, that depends on whether the other two guards are on the other terrace, doesn't it?
Could you clear that up for us, Yaz, which terrace you meant by the guards who are on the terrace?
So, in this instance, it did just say terrace.
Okay, that's fair enough.
On the piece of paper, but you would probably assume from this map the only labelled terrace is the one on the west hand side, the one with these two big staircases coming off of it.
Right. Oh. No, this one here, the two big staircases.
There's another terrace.
There is another terrace.
Yeah, there's another terrace next to the front door.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you'd assume obviously being city guards. City guards are there as extra. You wouldn't want them inside line of sight.
So you've got guards at the front door.
Again, this is probably something that you would know, is that your house guards take priority over external guards. you want your house guards to be at the forefront because that's your show of power.
Yeah.
If you're having to hire in help from elsewhere, you want them tucked away as possible because you don't want to display that, you're perhaps weaker than
So
you
the
think.
city guards would be by the library, and the bottom guards would be by the winter guard.
House,
By
so the
the
winter
entrance.
garden is an internal garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, the terrace by the winter
But the
garden.
terrace
Oh.
there.
Terrace, but yeah, the
Yeah.
terrace adjacent to, in front of the house.
Yeah,
kind of
not
thing.
not that one. So you'd assume they'd be at the side, out the way. You wouldn't want
Right.
them straight in
Okay.
the face.
So we're making the assumption
anyway,
there's two guards on the orangery terracey bit, and there's 2 guards on the western terrace. Is the assumption we're making? here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's what we've got down on our map here. Yeah,
So actually, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? There's 2 guards either way.
yeah.
Now I suppose
Yeah, so there's 2
the
entrance
advantage of the
points
2
there.
on the orangery bit is at least we can get up to the door without them seeing us.
Yes.
Depending on how well they look out
Correct.
the windows of the orangery. Whereas on the terracey terrace, we'd have to run up the stairs and surprise them somehow.
Well, yeah. If you went round off the western terrace, followed it round to the door round at the back of the private room, we could probably get in through that door without being seen because there's a bit of an alcove the other side of it. But once you get to the room opposite where the library is, which is where you want to access your staircase from, that is flush with the wall. There is no setback, so there's no cover there from those 2 guards on the orangery terrace.
No.
Whereas if you went in through a library window, as that library window to the front of the building, the one nearest the front of the building, that is just adjacent to the staircase, isn't it, that you want to go up, the spiral staircase. It's the shortest route, isn't it, if you can get through a window.
Yeah, I'd
You'd
say
have to deal with the 2 guards on the
shortest route
terrace.
is the big window on the terrace on the the southern
Correct.
window on the western terrace.
Southwest, yeah,
Is the best access, probably.
agreed.
But there are 2
Anybody
guards.
else?
There are 2 guards on that terrace. We believe.
Well, we're going to have to deal with 2 guards, whichever, because if you went round
Yeah,
the
yeah,
back way and
Yeah,
tried
no,
to
I
get through
agree.
the first one,
No, I
you've still
agree.
got to get
Yeah.
through a second door, aren't you?
It depends
Okay.
how good your bluff check is, because you'd obviously wait. You wouldn't attack that area between 7:30 and 8, because theoretically there could be 4 guards, because
Yes.
that's the changeover.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if you
could
waited till after 8,
Add 'em in.
there would only be 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you did it before 7:30, you'd just beat up the 2 guards. 2 more guards could be
Yeah,
coming
no,
round.
good point.
So you'd need to change. You'd have to do it after 8 o'clock, and then you could be just 2 guards coming round. What, we're here to change guard, and they go, we've just changed guard. Oh, really? Smack.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's
Depends
a
how
number
good
of
you are
ways you
bluffing.
could try and find ways of putting them to sleep or anything. There's a number of ways in which you could deal with those guards. My
Yeah.
next question is when you get up to let's assume we get through the window, up the staircase, up to the library, up to the mezzanine, off the mezzanine, and you get into the private study, which you would expect would hopefully be quiet at that
Yeah.
time.
You'd expect it to
We've
be
then
locked, but
obviously
we
got
can
to-
deal with that probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got to deal with whatever we're going to deal with, whether it's papers or whatever. Let's assume that that room that has no door is where he's keeping all the good stuff. How are we getting that back out?
Well, from memory of the stuff that we were told that was on the list, none of it's particularly bulky, is it?
I don't think so. I think a vast majority of it is small stuff,
So,
isn't
going through the list again, you had arcane thieves' tools, bag of flames, blessed bandages, 30 of those, 10 blast globes, censer of the last breath, portable foxhole, powder of the black veil, skin of the celestial, personal oasis, scrolls of uncertain provenance, sacred scabbard, 10 of those, sphere of awakening, spool of endless rope, 5 of those, survival pouch by 2, true light lantern, 5 of those, bow of the winter moon, crystal echo blade, meteoric knife, sword of virtue beyond reproach, 15 amulets of emergency healing, 2 amulets of retributive healing, armband of elusive action, belt of hidden pouches, belt of theft healing, collar of healing, and 12 fast-speaking amulets, and 30 platinum pieces.
Yeah.
So they are quite small. Apart from the bow will be big.
The bow will be quite big, and things like the blessed bandage would probably be in a medium-sized chest.
And a spear.
Apart from that,
Yeah.
they're all quite small items. They're just a lot of them.
Most of it would go in all of
There
them,
might be
wouldn't it?
something on. Well, there might be some of that stuff that might be useful to use for getting out.
Well, quite, but
Like
I said, look at the list.
the majority of it will go in Orland, won't it?
I would imagine. Well, well, he'll tell us if it can't, and then one of us will carry it. We've all got backpacks and things like that, haven't we? So we just find a way of hitching it or carrying it if it was necessary.
We wouldn't be able to take a backpack. Because the guards won't be walking around with backpacks.
Yeah, guards won't be wearing backpacks.
If you're going to be
will they?
guards,
Yeah.
we'd have to be only put what we would possibly need.
They do have capes, so if it was empty,
Oh,
you have your cape over it, and then
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might get away with that.
obviously
And then are we thinking of coming out the way we've gone in?
Well,
well, it
that's
depends how
always,
it goes.
That's always favourite. I mean, I don't see how we could go from the sewers up to that, because potentially the nearest point of the sewer that comes out is the inner courtyard, which is two floors below.
And busy.
And then we've
Yeah.
got to get from the west side to the central point.
Yeah,
I
and
think
if we come up through the inner courtyard, we've got to go east to come up the servant stairs to then go all the way across to the other side of the building. I mean, we're basically crossing the
But
building
what we
twice.
could do is look. Well, if it all went Pete Tong and we had to ditch for a different place and do a runner through the building, then probably that's where you'd head for, the inner courtyard, because that's the next. We know that that's the next exit that we know of into the sewer system. But that means a swim, doesn't it?
Well, and a
Yeah,
grate.
there's potentially another
There was a
one.
grate involved as well, wasn't there?
There was, yeah.
Which one? The deep one?
So Gwen's
Yes,
Gwen's,
there was.
Gwen's one comes up in the gardens.
Yeah.
Lars's one comes up Clear's, and it comes up under a mansion grate somewhere under the house, but he's not sure where because there was a grate in the way. Hal's,
Which means that if we don't come in that way, we can't go out that way because we don't know where it is.
No. So, and then Hal's route was the one that comes up in the inner courtyard, but she felt she was being watched while she was there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then Khalid got covered in shit, so let's not go that way.
Yeah, but also don't forget that we've got the sphere.
Yes.
If one of us buys it.
Yeah.
Hmm?
That's
Yeah.
an amazing item.
Because
Well,
if we all stand within...
We've got to all
There's
stand within
5 of us.
10 feet of each other. That's not a very big space.
You have. It isn't, and remember, you will still need to make. You'll still need to make stealth checks because if you
Move
drop
silently.
something or you move, or move silently checks, because you might
And
be
it's
in,
only
a,
good
in
for
a
3
sphere of
minutes.
invisibility. Yeah, so you'd
Yeah,
have
it's
to
only good-
literally move quickly to get to that inner courtyard to make a bid to disappear, because that's the next nearest entrance that we know of.
I will say there is an entrance that. Hold on, let me find my notes. The one chap he went to, Lars, he found the grate, but that was a wide route. No, sorry, no, that wasn't a wide route. That was an easy route to get by. It was dry. He doesn't know how far it goes or where it comes out,
Well,
but
that's-
we could potentially got a day. We could find out more information. You could
We
go
could,
down
yeah.
there, melt the bars off with some acid,
yeah.
and continue exploring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be interesting to know where that comes
We
up.
could explore it more, couldn't we, to see where it comes up? Because if it comes up in the stables, then we're... Well, actually, no, that's still no use to us.
No. So yeah, if we had to ditch the route out for a different, like the route in as the route out, then you'd have to look at the next nearest one that we know about is either over the back wall and out into the garden, which requires a swim and there's a grate, or down the well in the inner courtyard.
The other piece of information we don't know yet is we've got the map of the house here, but we don't know where the house is in relation to the outer wall, and how many gates there are in the outer wall.
Well, that's
You guys,
we'll find out tonight.
you guys know there's one because you've seen it because you spoke to the
Yeah,
unfriendly
double
guards.
gates
by
as
it.
you go in, yeah.
But you didn't get a chance to see where that is in relation to the house or anything, did you?
I would have seen how far the house was behind it, I think, because if you could see through the front gates, you can see where the front entrance is. Front gates are usually in front of the front entrance, aren't they, usually? I mean, this isn't a castle
dunno.
estate, this is a mansion.
Yeah, you could see the front of the house from the front gates.
Yeah. Could we tell a distance, roughly?
Probably not if it's 5 foot walls.
Well, you can see through the gates. Could see through the gates.
It was a fair enough distance. It wasn't like you need
Horse and carriage to
need
get
a horse and carriage to
Yeah.
get from the gates to the entrance. It wasn't that far. It was a little bit of a walk, but not that far.
there. Right, okay. Well, that gives us something. Right. How do
Well,
we want
we've
to
got
do this? How do we proceed?
We've got the beginnings of a plan, haven't we?
Yeah, we need to get on with this and do this, I think.
Okay, so you've had a bit of time to kind of sit here and have a bit of a plan. What are you deciding to do? How are you going to do this? I know obviously you haven't got things like guard rotations or anything in place, but what is your best route of doing it at the moment?
Well, I think we said go round to the side terrace, didn't we? The terrace on the west of the library.
Yeah. So somehow
attempt
into
to go
the
in that way.
grounds. So we haven't ascertained yet
Yeah.
how into the grounds, but somehow into the grounds. I think Colin's right. If we do it after 8 o'clock, then we know those are the last two guards stood on that terrace. And you can't see that terrace from anywhere else. So if we deal with those two guards on that terrace, then Kewin's quite right. Nobody else is going to come a looking for them. So post 8 o'clock is probably the way to go. Some sort of ruse that we're coming to take over from them, or sending them to sleep, or whatever it is we do to deal with those two guards on that terrace. In through a
Upstairs.
library window, up the spiral staircase,
Yep.
into the private study, and then work out
Yeah.
how we're getting into the room behind the private study.
Yeah, and then
I
just
think.
try and reverse the process coming back out.
Okay, so you've kind of got a rough plan down as to what you want to do. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, back in the room. You've been having a discussion. You've probably been having this discussion for 2 hours, kind of in between you, just saying what's the best route, what's the best way, how we're going to do this, who can we use, what can we use. You're now all kind of back in the room. You're all sat there. Sato's been wandering in and out, occasionally going in like, that looks good, route. Then wandering off again. Not really contributing much, but just occasionally, you see him, and he's got various food items. He's back again with soup, cereal. He's made himself right at home in the church. He's just raiding the cupboards. So, what are you doing now? It's probably mid-morning.
Okay, and I don't want to sound stupid, but we've got the rest of today and all of tomorrow still.
Yeah, and then it's the next day. It's the party.
Yeah, we're on
Because we've only
we're
had
on
one sleep.
Yes.
Oh, loads
just
done then.
literally in
Okay.
the morning of
Okay.
day 2 of 3. Is that right?
Yeah, so we got all of
Yeah, I
today,
think that's
all
how
of
I
tomorrow, and
understand
the
it.
party's tomorrow night, not the day after.
Oh, God.
That's all I'm looking at,
No,
Spence.
no, because it was the evening where you went to sleep. It was
So we've got 2 and a
the
bit
day
days.
after tomorrow. After that, it was
Oh, so
after
we've got
tomorrow.
two-
So you've got
Oh god,
2 more
oh
sleeps.
bloody hell,
and
yeah.
then
Let's
the
go on a
party's
little
the
side
evening.
quest.
2 more sleeps and it's on the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ, we've got loads of time.
Which is why 24 hours. Which is why 24 hours was deducted for the, or sort of deducted for the sleep.
Yeah.
3 sleeps.
Okay.
Kewin,
Hello. Yes.
can I have a word with you, please?
Yes. No problem.
Can I go over out of the room? I'm going to wander back out out of the room, basically, into a corridor or something.
Yeah, Sato probably slaps past with a baguette in his hand. Disappears into another room.
Oh God. Laura just shakes her head at this. Kieran, you know when Lars came back and he said that he'd found a grate, he'd found a dry root, and he got to a grate and couldn't get any closer, but he thought it was somewhere under the mansion?
Oh, yes. I can remember
How about I go and find Lars, and if you come with me, why don't we go and have a look at this grate? Now, do something practical. I'm sat around here discussing loads of stuff at a table. I'm sure they've got something to do. They're going to go and send some guards to go and look at stuff, aren't they?
Okay, yeah, I'm fine, yeah.
If we go do that, what do you think?
Yes, was that the one where people were watching? Was that a different one?
No, I think that was a different one.
Well,
This one.
I'll come. Yes, I mean, I don't know if I'll be better or Caddo or what, but I want to go. I'll be there just in case there is somebody around. Just in case, I could give them a good smacking.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I didn't want to just disappear off with Lars on my own particularly. I'd rather just take someone with me.
Well, you know, Lars is a very
we could
fellow,
ask Esther if she wanted to come as well, if she doesn't want to sit around in the church.
Yeah, or yes, fine. Or I'll fire. I mean, we could all go.
Yeah.
But obviously, the fewer people, the less noise.
Okay. Well, let me put it to the group. So, I'm going to go back into the room.
Yep.
Into our war room in the church. I'm gonna go and explore with Lars. I'm gonna go and find Lars, and I'm gonna go and have a look at this grate. I've asked Kieran if he'll come with me. If anybody else wants to come with me, they can. It is an open offer. Esther, if you want to come, you can. I don't know whether you've got other things to do or whether you guys want to go off and do something else. It's just something practical to do. I'm going to go and explore where this grate is, and I'm going to find out where it goes.
If you take Lars with you, we haven't got enough people to do the house, Ricky.
Okay, well, I'll ask Lars to do me a bit of a drawing, and I'll try and follow the drawing in through the bottom. Are you okay to sort out the house, Recce? Maybe. If we go off and have a look at this?
Well, we could detail them off now, couldn't we? If we detail off the house, Ricky, now, the longer they're doing it for, I'm guessing the more information we'll get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Well, okay, who wants to come with me then?
Well,
Okay.
I'm coming.
Do you think we should go?
Esther, do you wanna come with me?
Was there some uniform to be repaired, dearie? Is that?
We needed to get some uniforms cleaned.
I'm more than happy to take care of that with Ruth if that's.
Could you do that for us?
Yes, of course, dearie.
Well, that sounds brilliant.
Oh,
What do you reckon, guys? That'd be
Awesome.
brilliant.
Not too much starch.
I'll keep that in mind, dearie.
Right. Well, whoever had the uniforms, I assume, is going to hand them over.
They were in Orland.
So.
Oh, right.
No, Orland will spit out a veritable stream of clothing. I mean, the flap opens and it's like, thum, it's like someone's got one of those t-shirt cannons.
Oh yeah.
I was
A baseball game. Thum. The clothing just comes firing out, and Esther's like, "Oh, got it!" Jumping around, just, "Oh, got it!" On your head, Kieran.
Oh, it's almost as bad as those butterflies, those fireflies.
Thank you, Orland.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Look, I'm going to leave with Kieran. I don't know what anybody else wants to do, but I'm going to go and find Lars and get Lars to give me an explanation of what routes he took to get to this grate.
Yeah. Okay. So
before he's tasked to do something else.
Yeah. Okay. So you find Lars. He's pretty easy to find. All the Cathars are kind of hanging around. They're just actually kind of waiting for you to ask them to do something at this point. And he's very easily able to kind of grab a scrap of paper and he starts, scribbling and saying, okay, you start off at this point, take this here, you've got to walk up here, there, this, that, the other, he gives you.
Excuse me.
He gives you a detailed explanation that from the starting point you will be able to find your way very, very easily to this grate.
I like that. Okay, I can do that.
So you're going off to do that. Esther's going to do some laundry. Ogvar, what are you doing?
Ogvar will turn to Caddo and what do you think, Caddo? Do you think they're going to need us down the sewer, or do you think they're going to need us looking at the house?
Well, I suspect you're more stealthy than me, Ogvar. I'm not very stealthy at all. I mean, look at me. I'm a rotund cleric. And me and little thin sewers aren't a particularly good mix. I suspect I'll make more noise than be useful down in a sewer. But I'm quite happy to deal off. I'm quite happy to deal off the detail off the house watching team and wait for their report if you're happy.
If you're okay, then yes, I'm okay with that. I can aid them down the sewers, possibly. I don't know.
Well, I'm not. Oh, I'm not there. It's all right. I've gone downstairs at this point.
We're just talking about what we're.
No, you haven't quite gone yet.
Oh, we're not quite gone yet. Okay, right. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, somebody needs to sort out the Cathars and get them organised about this recce of the house. Anybody who wants to come is more than welcome. I'm not planning on this being a long trip. I'm going down there. I want to get this job done because I just want to move on with stuff. So I'm not planning to take any detours. Put it that way.
Well, I shall stay up here with Caddo then. If you don't want to be crowded down there, you see.
Oh, it's fine. Whatever you like. Maybe you can have a think on those magic items or something that we might be able to get our hands on and
very
see
good
what
idea.
maybe you can have a discussion to see what you think might be useful.
Okay, sounds very reasonable.
Right, so I'm going to leave the room. Say, see you later, Caddo. See you later, Ogvar. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, so Kieran and Elora, you make your way down out of the church, through the city to this certain grate, this certain kind of manhole that Lars specified. You know, he'd gone down here. This is the quickest route to get to, this point. And you follow his directions up the sewer. It's a dry sewer. There's a faint whiff. It smells slightly. It smells musty. It smells damp. It smells kind of stale. And you get the occasional kind of plop, plop of water dripping.
Oh.
Other than that, it's a very disused. It's a little slippery with moss and some debris in the bottom.
Did we access that through? Was it just a separate sewer grate that was somewhere else in the city that we went in through? So it wasn't through the underground.
No, it's through this manhole cover that Lars told
Oh,
you
okay.
about.
Okay. Right.
So you walk up there, and it's very easy to follow his directions. He's given you some really good directions, really clear directions. You get to a fork in the road, and there's no question about it. You take the left-hand side.
Okay.
So yeah, you eventually. It is dark down here. Are you lighting the way somehow?
Yeah, I will cast light on
Yep.
the end of one of my daggers.
Okay. So it's illuminated. You can see up this tunnel, and you do get to put. This tunnel isn't thin. It's not narrow. It's it's about 6 foot clearance, and it's about maybe 5 foot wide. It's it is, I suppose, it is narrow in that sense, but you have got more than enough room to kind of get down there. You're not like squeezing yourself through tiny little gaps. And you do occasionally come across a rough spot or two in the tunnel where perhaps the side wall has kind of collapsed slightly, and it's spilled, like there's some stone, rubble and earth which is spilled into the tunnel itself, so you have to kind of squeeze yourself through.
Okay.
But it's not like squeezing through a gap, it's more like you've just got to kind of climb around and over it and then you're free. Okay, so you follow this tunnel until you get to this grate, and it's an old rusty kind of clearly used like in the past. It's damp, it's rusted. It's just this kind of grate which has been embedded into the walls. It's this kind of cross-hatch style, so you've got vertical and you've got horizontal struts, and it's just blocking off the entirety of this tunnel. And they are kind of the struts are probably about a couple of inches the holes in them, so you can get like your arm up to your shoulder through, but can't get anything else through. What are you doing? It is blocking the way in front of you. It's embedded in the wall. It's solid. It's not. Queuing, you might ram your shoulder into it, and you get kind of like a kind of dong as it echoes, bangs, and you get a bit of loose dust where it's embedded, kind of.
It's quite strong,
down,
quite strongly
but
embedded.
it is strong embedded. It is being kind of concrete sealed in.
Yeah, I'd say that. You'd need a really hefty blocking tackle to try and pull that out of there. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll try what I did on the door locks.
Oh,
Try and melt it. It's metal. It's corrosive. Acid is corrosive, so I'll try and chuck some acid at it and see if that will weaken it, so we can either break through it or just melt it. What do you reckon?
that sounds good enough to me.
Give it a go.
Just make sure I'm behind you.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So she's going to stand, give herself enough of a distance so that there's no. Well, you don't get any splash off this. It's an orb of acid. But what she's going to do is she is going to. She's going to. Have I got to hit this? I'm not in combat.
No, you're not in combat. It's not going to be that difficult to hit it. It's it's great in the wall.
Right. Well, it's about 2 inches. This orb of acid is about 2 inches in diameter. So I'm going to raise my hand, and from the base of my palm, I am going to let. I'm not even going to explain what Colin's doing there. Looks like he's on a gym workout. I'm going to let rip with.
Are you now?
With an orb of acid.
Well, if you're lucky, that'll burn through the metal.
Nobody like a match.
I just hope she's facing towards me.
Yeah, I'm going to let rip with some orbs of acid out in front of me.
Okay.
So I'll do it at about 15-foot distance or something. And I'm going to attempt. I'll give it 2 blasts of orbs of acid first of all.
Yeah.
See what it does. See how much it takes away or weakens it.
Okay, so 2 blasts of orb of acid. You're probably going to be able to weaken it quite considerably. You hear it hit the metal and kind of sizzle as it burns away, as it kind of splashes off the stone and dribbles a bit and gets all over the place. But it eats through the metal fairly easily, and it's pretty strong acid. And you can see now kind of the top quarter of this sphere, this kind of circle, has now been eaten away, and it's actually free. You can actually see edges, and Kieran, when you reach around and grab one of these edges, you can now bend it slightly. It's weakened.
Do you need me to have another go at that, or is it something that we can pull off from there, do you reckon?
I'll have a quick pull.
Could do with getting the thing out as much as possible.
I'd say probably do it again.
Right.
Same again.
I'll throw another 2 orbs of acid at it.
What's the diameter of these?
2 inches across.
Okay, so quite small.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
But I would go for different points to try and.
Yeah, this is embedded in.
Right. Well, I've kind of. The idea was, I perhaps should have said initially. The idea would be to try and go at the corners to try and.
It's a circle.
Oh, it's a circle. Sorry, I assumed it was a square grate. Okay, I don't know why. I just. Sorry, I just thought it's a square grate. Okay. Well, look, I'll go again, but I'll pick different points on it. 2 different points on it.
Okay, I'm going to draw a picture for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I can retcon this if you didn't actually get the fact that it was a circle.
No, I didn't
You need
really
a
think
diagram of
about
the
it being a
circle,
tunnel. I just assumed it would be. I don't know. Just it could be.
I did say
I
it
just
was
thought it might be a
circular,
square
didn't
one rather than
I
round.
did say it was circular, didn't I?
I didn't hear a circle.
You did.
but-
Yeah, you did.
Ah, right.
There
Okay.
you go.
Right.
It's a waffle.
It's a waffle.
It's a waffle.
Right. So it's a round sewer grate that looks like a waffle.
It's a waffle, yes.
Waffle.
Waffle.
Okay. So I'm going to start by I'm going to step back about 15 foot away from it.
Okay, I'm not going to run through this again. Where did you target the first 2?
Don't look at me. I didn't do it.
Well,
He's not in control of your orb of acid.
all right. I'm going to. The first 2 will be there and there, and the second 2 will be there and there.
What? What I'd say
He doesn't look impressed.
was if you hit at an intersection, it'll
The
go.
power of Christ compels you. may ever sin be with you.
Cross. If you hit where they intersect, you'd burn 2. So 1 that way, 1 that way, 1 that way, that way.
I'll tell you what.
Right, okay.
Can we just go back to the beginning?
Do you know what I mean?
Oh dear.
Please, can we
Do you
just go
know
back
what
to
I
the
mean?
Yes, I
beginning
know
of
what
this
you mean.
start?
Right. Strategically pick where you're burning through. Okay, put it this way. How
Kieran. Which bits would you like me to go for?
Well, if you... Right.
How many shots of orb of acid do you have available for use?
Fucking hell, 7.
7.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Really? That many?
I thought we were just RPing this tiny bit out, but
Well,
obviously
I
not.
was, but
No,
On
it's-
4?
No, it's gone now. Right. Okay.
Okay, so we've given Laura a diagram of the grate. Kieran has picked out where she's going to burn through.
Right. I'm gonna go with 4 orbs of acid, and I am going to do them in a straight line at the intersecting points from top to bottom in the middle. So 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and the other 2 in between on the dissecting point.
Okay.
Well, the intersecting
diagonal.
points.
If
Yeah,
you look.
I just said it.
No, you said straight down.
Fuck me. Just move on. I'm not role playing this out. I've decided. You can cut that. I'm not RPing that bit out. Right, I'm throwing some orbs of acid at it. What's happening?
You're a sad sausage.
Oh no, I don't know what you want me to do.
No, look, it's very simple. You've got a grate, you've got a certain number of uses of orb of acid.
Yeah.
But if
Where
you
are
go...
you burning through to clear out
I've
this
just told
grate?
you. Where he's just told me to do them. Oh, this is ridiculous.
You said straight down.
It's
That's
just
what
like
it is straight
look,
down.
you
It's not,
held
it's a
the piece of
diagonal.
paper and
Depends how you hold the paper, Colin, really.
Depends how you hold the
Hang on a
paper.
minute. Hang on a minute. Give
It's
me
a
that.
circle.
Give me that. I was given the fucking piece.
I'm glad I'm in a different building.
I was given a piece of paper like that. So I said I'm going to burn it top, bottom, and 2 in between.
Yeah, but
on
why
the
say top, bottom,
intersecting
2 in
points.
between?
What else am I supposed to fucking say?
Get off.
I'm still trying to get my head round orb of acid.
Right,
How many
look,
of
we
them
get to the grate. Just fucking, we get to the grate. For Christ's sake, just move on.
Okay, you use 4 usages of orb of acid to burn through the grate. With that, Kieran, you are fully able to kind of take a step up, and with a bit of effort, a bit of welly, you can just kind of wrench it open, bean can it a bit, and you've got enough room to get in.
Oh, that's brilliant. Look at that.
That's well placed. That orbs there.
Well, thank you, Kieran. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes.
Kieran's gone up an octave.
He's gone. He's gone.
Right, when everyone recovers emotionally from that, I'm going to shut the grate on fire.
Don't mention great, yes. Don't mention great.
Four well placed orbs of acid enable Kieran to peel back for access.
It's good thing we don't live stream, eh?
Oh,
Christ.
God, Christ.
The team's hunt for some useful utility items turned up trumps, with many miscellaneous magical masterpieces for them to acquire. However, they deftly decided to postpone any purchases until after the rogues running their reconnaissance returned with further insightful intel. The barracks busting task force were waylaid by Jerome van der Tack himself, as he did his best impression of a blusterful budgie by repetitively regaling his own reflection with the tales of the Battle of Dryfish Dock. Later, the supposedly simple task of breaching a barrier proved to be too much trouble for the entire table, as the crew cohesively crumbled into chaos during what can only be described as a metallic meltdown that fried their faculties. Join us next week in episode 83 for more mayhem.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Having you as a listener means everything to us. So, whichever streaming service you choose to listen to us with. Please give us a like, subscribe and follow. We would love for you to join us on our Facebook or Twitter page, where you can catch up with all of our latest news. While you're waiting for the next episode of Secrets of the Silver City, why not pop over to our website, where you can read all of the information about this campaign, from backstories to setting. All of the links are in the bio of this episode. Join us again next week for the next instalment. Thank you for listening.